I know exactly how this is going to go. It's time to get another sister on the go, which means one thing and one thing only. Spending forever for the next hour or so going through all of the different sisters or contenders that pop up and try to get the one weapon I am looking for to spawn. I have two that I need at the minute, and that's just going to be a complete nightmare because neither of them are going to spawn. Yes, another contender. Right next to a hand. That was handy. What have you got? Oh, cannot write this stuff. Gimme, gimme, gimme. That is exactly one of the ones I'm looking for. Meaning that the last Tenet weapon I am going to get, because this is the second last one, is the first one I wanted to get and have yet to actually see. Oh yes, this time, not letting that happen. You are going down. Whether you want to or not. There is no questioning behind this. You are just going to die. Because I am host. And I get knocked over by the magic of nothingness. No, people, this one's mine. You. Unexpected spawn. Slight issue on the thing to get you to come up. The game, previous to this, you glitched. As I have seen many times before. And now you're gone. Be gone. Goodbye, you. We're a troublesome sister. Inbox message giving me, that's a bit of a shame actually. I'm going to keep that for the sake of it. The Envoy. You can see what I'm missing here. Oh, nothing. That is all the primaries. Finally, that was the last one. I think that's the last one. That would be 4 there. Let's find out what it's like. Remembering, gonna have to format this thing 5 times. Does have no polarities, and yes, to make sure I haven't missed one, I'd kind of drag the mod and bring it over, because if I've tried to put it in a slot, it won't let me do it. What you also have to do is install one of these, if you have one, but it turns out previous weapons I put them in, for some reason it didn't take. Because when I started going through my primary weapons, yes, this is a video of failure. That didn't have one, even though I have the footage of putting it in. And that didn't have one. No, it wasn't. It was the Orca Plasma. Didn't have one. Yes, I am aware that it is June. Yes, I'm also aware it's 2022 and this video technically started a year ago. Because up until now, that was a year ago. Because these are the kind of weapons that I played with and then I don't even want to say forgot about. It was more other things happened and then TennoCon happened and it just gets to a point where they're so late it's not really worth kind of doing. But this thing, it has forever been sitting at the back of my mind, trying to figure out, do you in fact put primed Firestorm on this? Because it improves the blast radius by 66%. And of course, being explosive, it's kind of needed. It has a range for the blast radius of 8. And if you put primed Firestorm in there, it turns to 13. But you will be sacrificing a lot of damage. If I put this in here, you can see the radius goes to 13.28, but the damage... That is a lot of lost damage on this thing. I just cannot bring myself to do it. Not just that, but it's a loss of status at the same time. So I'm kind of keeping it like this. It does have Blast and Corrosive on it at the moment. These, of course, can be swapped around to any elemental combo you want them to have. There is Radiation and Viral, but it still has the total 14,500 damage. So, yeah, I do not regret having the 2 crit mods in here. Yes, they are just the base mods. Would love a primed point strike at this point just to make them better, and terminal velocity thrown over into the Exilus slot because, well, projectile speed on this, it's not necessary, but it helps a lot. And then obviously some heavy caliber serration, that's basically 165% damage with 165% damage added on top, and the accuracy doesn't really mean that much, considering this thing will follow wherever you point it. And this is one of those kind of primaries that running a good secondary is really handy, because what they refer to as patented Granum attaché system means when you holster it, it reloads itself. So putting it away for a short amount of time means it will automatically reload itself. You have the primary fire mode that just kind of shoots out a rocket. And then you have the secondary fire mode where if you keep aiming it, it will go wherever your little laser tells it to go, which is where the Tenet Envoy comes into its own. You fire it, you think you've missed, you quickly look down scope, you can take control of the rocket you fired to go to where you actually wanted it to go, because strangely enough, enemies run away, move, hide. And the fact it has that, I still can't believe they called it a wired guided system, means it has greater accuracy. So having those mods in there, I know heavy caliber has a 55% accuracy reduction, but it really doesn't matter that much when it's laser guided, which made it made a good weapon better by having that mod in there. This is the kind of weapon that mod is meant for. Granted, just hitting them with the actual shell kind of doesn't really do much, because it's 2,268 damage. But when it goes off, yeah, do not put punch through on this. Punch through you do not want on weapons like this. You want it to explode on impact, because this thing becomes very good for crowd control. Obviously, with primed firestorm in there, that would increase the range even more, making it even better for crowd control. But I tried it, and I still, a year later, cannot decide if I like it with that or without it. With it, it's great, it does more damage to a group of enemies, but you don't really get a bunch of enemies grouped up into a 13 meter range that would make much difference over just firing a second shot. And if you aim just outside of the 8 meters you've just done, then that's kind of 16 meters, because you've taken out 2 groups of enemies instead of just 1. Yeah, you have to fire it twice, but it has a magazine capable of doing this. With a magazine of 8, it's fine to do so. The fire rate is a little bit slow, but all of the downsides of this weapon were kind of pointless and useless. And it's also, okay, I know somebody's going to mention it, the patent Granum attaché system. Not attach system, attaché system, because it is classed as a suitcase gun. I know I read it wrong before, and I was looking at it and thought I'd better correct that, because somebody's going to go down and do it. Because it's a suitcase gun, when it goes back into its attaché, it reloads itself. Which is just another... They literally took the Ogress, made it better, put it in a self-reloading case, attaché, and give it a guided system. This is everything I kind of wish the Ogress was back when the Ogress was first released. Yes, we do have the Kuva Ogress, but it may have more damage for the explosion side of it, but it has less range. And you're only talking about 47 damage here, but it has less crit. It has no crit. The normal damage to it is 27. This is 100. The Ogress has a magazine of 3, and yes, I am talking about the Kuva Ogress here. Should verify that one. The Kuva Ogress, which is a better version of the Ogress, is... The radial attack is better than this. Everything else, the Tenet Envoy, is exactly what it was designed to be. It's an Ogress killer. And the Ogress is basically... Ooh. Do I dare say best rocket launcher in the game? It used to be the best rocket launcher in the game. Now, this discreet rocket launcher, yeah, this wins. This, hands down, is just got to be the best rocket launcher in the game. I'm just going to call it the best launcher in the game. That includes most of the secondaries as well, because it just kind of is. I really don't know if this was the best of the primaries they added. I have waited a year for more Tenet-based weapons to be added to this game. We've all hoped the Tenet lens would become a thing and be better than this, and I'm not waiting anymore. I'm clearing my Tenet Envoy from the to-do list, because they just, a year later, will pretty much know if we're going to get new weapons for these, they should have come. They could literally do that right now as a stopgap towards TenOCon. They could have done that at any time in the past year, just added some Tenet weapons, and they haven't, which is a huge shame because this thing was amazing. And what they had to add afterwards would have just been even better. Tenet lens, we can all hope, but in the meantime, who really cares? The Tenet Envoy is a heck of a primary. And with that, we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.